I know you were talking, Baba, with the guys on Squawk, better than expected earnings, but revenues do miss, up 34, a little shy. They bounced the buyback a bit to $15 billion, but what are we thinking here in light of the regulatory concerns?
I mean, and the stock did trade up about $1.50 when they talked about the buyback, but I would tell you, Carl, that the assault on companies that, of course, we also have in our pension plans continues. And when I heard that term, the spiritual opium against the gaming, I shuddered because everybody kind of felt that after the post-school tutorials where they said, listen, we've got a class divide. Now they are what I always understood that they're about, that there's next, is the dumbing down of their own people. And when you play with these 10-cent games, that is not the same as going to being a 7-year graduate student in a place in New Haven.
Yeah, and there it is. It turns out spiritual opium has grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry. No industry, no sport can be allowed to develop in a way that will destroy a generation. Now,
those softened a bit. Take-Two? Is that Take-Two?
Yeah, it was softened a bit later, but and Baba's has gaming as well. Now, in terms of trying to assess the quarter and how much of the stock being down, if it is down this morning, is a result of these latest moves in China, unclear. MAUs, for mobile, went up 14 million on a 939 million or roughly base. So not a net increase. Okay, 14 million, but percentage-wise, obviously nothing like what they once saw.
Right.
Jim at Baba. But
I'm in Baba for a buyback, for heaven's sake.
I know, but your point is an important one on these investors who are still hanging on in many of these Chinese company stocks that trade here, or in that the education in particular. It's going to end. It's going to end. And where it ended, with all of them becoming non-profits.
Non-profit. Can you imagine we wake up and our companies are non-profit?
Yeah. So, you're very, I think, right to point to the risk here. There's still risk that stands out here as the Chinese authorities continue to take action. We're not sure where it actually ends.
Every night we get the note from Kathy Woods from ARC. Let's just say that the Chinese are no longer wood stocks. Right? Those are not wood stocks. She still sells a little bit every day.
Yeah, she's turned tail on a lot of those.
Wow.
Just thematically. By the way, it doesn't help that Take-Two had some release push-outs that did result in them guiding below for Q2 revs.
It was very rough because this quarter was extraordinarily good, but they had to push back a couple of big releases. Now, they also have NBA 2K, which is a gigantic hit in China. Now, is that spiritual opium?
Right.
I'd be worried.
You'd be worried about
that Take-Two could be spiritual opium. I think if you're a seller in China, Nike didn't do that well. Apple obviously means a great deal, but they've already passed the test. Starbucks did incredibly well. Nike, a lot of people were short it because people felt that someone would ask them about the Uyghurs and the concentration camps.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, do you think the Chinese allow that moment that just Chinese press that button?